Good afternoon, Parker Woods friends. Today I'm going to share a story with you. It's by one of my favorite authors. We've really enjoyed some of her other stories, and we're going to use this one today to maybe inspire you with a little bit of art as a response to the story. So this story is called Iggy Peck Architect. It's by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. So maybe some of you know Rosie Revere Engineer. I think that's one of her other stories that we really like. Ada Twist Scientist. Sophia Valdez Future Prez. So she's got quite a few, and she's even got some that graduated into chapter books too. So if you like the picture books, but they're getting a little old for you, check out some of the chapter books. They're a lot of fun too. All right, Iggy Peck Architect. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed, "that's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I could care less about buildings ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all one ought to avoid them, no ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. "You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howell?" "No, ma'am," Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down on the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now 2nd grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. "We're trapped here! Oh my, alas, kids, goodbye!" Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound, luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces. And on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than spend time building a dream. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirts and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. The end. I hope you like this story as much as I do. One of the reasons this is one of my most favorite books to share is because Iggy is such a creative person. He takes almost anything and uses it as a building material. And I think right now, as we're all at home looking around, we can find lots of cool things to use as building materials. We don't have to always just think about getting out our paper and drawing utensils in order to create art. Art can be made from just about anything. So I hope that you checked out the Symmetry Snack Time last week and saw that we made some art from food, snacks, fruit. That was really a lot of fun. And then we got to eat our art afterwards. Well, there's other ways that we can use some unique materials around our house to do some building also. So I was inspired by Iggy Peck Architect, and I went to my pantry to see what I could find to do a little building of my own. I'm going to show you what I made. All right, can you check out my tower here? I found some canned goods and some boxes of pasta and rice. And I have a little clementine pathway filled in with some little yummy candy steps. I even brought in my little oregano bush to have a tree outside of my tower. And I added our cool magnets. Some of you might have these magnets at home. Those are great things to build with. Legos are also awesome building materials, but you can see I was a little bit more creative with some of my building materials used. I got skyline chili as a building material. Another thing that you can do if you're inspired by Iggy Peck is you could think about what type of building you might like to make. So my girls have been busy coming up with a design of a building of their own. All right, Tilly, do you want to share what kind of building that you drew?
Yeah. During when Miss Tess was reading, we were in our fort designing stuff and stuff. This is called Homework Tower. You can see Homework Tower is a place where all the homework is made. There are homework fairies, and there are says do not enter because they're working on their homework and they don't want you to be prepared. These are pencils.
Oh, you have pencils for your towers? That is extremely creative, and it works for your theme for a homework tower. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Let's give Ruby a turn to show us what she made. All right, Ruby, what did you make?
I need to bend down to you. I made treetop tower.
Ooh, you designed a tree house?
It's the funnest place on earth.
Nice. How do you get into your tree house tower?
You can climb these little steps, or you could once someone climbs up through there, they unleash that, which you can climb up.
Oh, they can put the rope ladder down for you to climb?
Yeah, and then a way to get down is you can slide.
Very cool. That sounds very
And
creative.
Something fun about mine is that you can get free massages, and there are $100 bills scattered all over the floor.
Wow, it sounds like she thought of a lot of details to include in her treehouse. I bet both of these girls could even maybe think about writing a story to explain a little bit more about their design of their building so people understand that a little bit more. All right, I have one last building idea for you. We have been reading from a very special place today and doing our drawing from a special place that we built today, just with a couple little binder clips and a couple sheets, and we moved some stuff around in our dining room and we made a fort. All right, so
our beanbags in it, and we have a little table and Mom's chair. We also have you can put really anything.
Yeah, so I think the girls are going to spend the rest of their afternoon doing some more of their work inside their fort, which might be a really fun place to play. All right, so those are those ideas. You can draw and design maybe some fantastic idea you have for a building. You can get creative with your building materials with canned goods and clementines. You can get out some great building materials that are made for that, like the Magna tiles, or you can get out your Legos to build with. Or you can get really creative and you can build yourself a little bit of a building that you can actually go into by building a fort. Just make sure, as always, anytime you're getting something out, you better be prepared to clean it back up, and you should make sure that you have the permission of your families before you really get into something that might make a pretty big mess. So before you start raiding the pantry, make sure you have permission first. I hope you have fun making some art of some kind inspired by Iggy Peck Architect. And if you do, make sure that you find a way to share it with all of your friends and family. You can post it here or email it to me, or make sure you just show some friends and share your art with everyone. Miss you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.